Okay, good morning and welcome to the presentation of the MedAID dashboard for sharing the dashboard that we are building for sharing the different KPIs coming from the different technical work package. The idea of this dashboard that we are building but using as a tool is to help you in the comparative analysis of the principal indicators that we are selected until now in the MedAID. The idea for today is the introduction of this tool. Is a tool that we are building based in a easy, responsible, usable, and very adaptable. The idea is to help you to understand how you can moving and you can adapt the information that you have. Our aim is grow and modify and adapting continuously this dashboard with the recommendation coming from the users and provide new solutions based on the learnings coming from the technical work package. Okay, we'll talk about the objectives that we have in this specific subtask in the work package age, which is the importance of transforming data in value. What are the challenges that we are adapted in MedAID to transform data in value? Why we use this model, and we are the model that we are adapting based of the information recollected, which is the benchmark in MedAID, which is the tool, and some examples on how to do more. No, the basic objective of this task will be the validity, the solutions improving by the industry. No, and the idea that we have is implementing a specific added software based in innovative packages to monitor the performance of the FAR from a new multifactorial approach. When we say new multifactorial approach, is due to the idea is to introduce this new concept, the new concept of a smart farm. Actually, this concept is quite imposed. And the new technologies are become very strategic for the development of the new sector. And the real thing, the real that we have found that is that we have an amazing amount of data in our facilities, in our companies, but not in so much cases we use this data appropriately. We are recollecting, we are using, but the idea at the end is transform the data in value. Because as we say in this picture, I love data. Data is the real blood that we have to transform in our companies. We found that existing many examples of platforms associated with the analysis of information, offering integrated solution for aquaculture manager, integrating smart technologies and innovation in the feed farming. In some cases, they are a complete platform belonging to a private companies. In other cases, are a specific software adapted for the company to help him in the day-to-day, but it's amazing. And this is continuously improving day after day. Also, we are observing that government, sectoral agents, national and international associations request continuously data for the aquaculture companies and producers through the use of multiples of surveys. This is a system that normally the stakeholder associated with the industry have to recollect data. And the main challenge that we are introducing is how we can manage all of this data from a strategic decision making, but through a simple digital platform. Okay, we have well, no, it's not exactly in the analysis of all the platforms that we are doing. We are not found any any specific platform who integrate all the data or all the information that we need with the ability to intercompare the different KPIs in a similar way that we are proposing in this MedAID. We don't know that probably they don't exist, but we don't found any specific like this. So to do this one, based on the information recollected in the work package one, doing so many analyses of which are the characteristics of the Mediterranean sector, basically associated with the sea bream and sea bass productions, we found that the sector is quite complex. Oh, well, all this information is quite well detailed in the deliverables 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3 that belong to the work package one. But we found that the sector is quite complicated and they are continuously moving. So we can find many different of companies and facilities. So we decided to integrate two different kinds of activities. The activities of related with the real main activity of the company. If they are a hatchery, growing, or they combine hatchery and growing, and at the same time, we are introducing which kind of species they are producing. 1, 2, or multiple species at the same time. The combination between the activity with the specific species and the degree of specialization is the system that we are using for the categorization of the different companies and facilities. We found that in some cases, the correlation between company, if the company has so many facilities and facilities is not exactly the same, but we are introducing this kind of models. And based on these two level of the size of the legal size of the company and the technology of the degree of the technology that the company have, we are generating this kind of model based on the specialization and the size of the company. And as you say in this graph, the sector is continuously moving. The sector is continually moving from micro companies or micro facilities, very small with high degree of technology degree, to the general and mostly specialized and diversified. The sector are continually moving. Okay, so this is the basis that we are using for compare one facility to the other. The idea of the MedAID benchmarking is help us to understand which are the difference between facilities, as I presented previously, which are the main difference between one another. We are based in annual production and species differentiation. The idea is to help us to auto-evaluate also as a company level. Help us in the process of benchmarking in general and in a particular approach by facilities. Also to facilitate us some potential improvement based of the average of the sector and following MedAID recommendations. And finally, it's really important, all the data that we are obtaining or you provide us, it will be processed anonymously. And all the comparison of each user will be made with the industry average of similar facilities. So you are continuously using your data and comparing your data with the average of the sector or the specific facility that you have, but any other can obtain information coming from you. Okay, MedAID tool are integrated in a Smart Water Planet suite, which is a management software that people of Smart Water are developing so many years ago. And we are integrating these intercomparative models based on the work package and the specific selected indicator that we are obtaining for the previously works. Actually, are working on the approach to the zootechnics indicator, health and biosecurity, economics, and environment. We actually are working in welfare and governance, which is in process. In a few days will be available in the platform. And also we are working on in present some genetics and how to improve products. To go inside the smart water cloud, at the beginning, it's necessary to introduce your data for generating an account. The generation of account is inside the smart water suite, in which you need to integrate data of your company, which production center do you have, which is the people in charge to introduce data, etc. During the first stage in the MedAID, the process of registration and use the platform is totally free. Okay, so you can follow the how to do this one, and you have a discount to use the platform by free, which is why? Because if you provide data, we offer you the possibility to go inside the platform and help us to understand and also sharing and compare continuously, which is the improvement. Okay, once you are going safe to the platform, the next step is how we can moving and how we can introduce data in the MedAID. And for that, I go directly to the smart water dashboard. I think we need to change my screen, Bernardo. Okay.
Sorry, we see it well.
Oh, if you see it well, you are.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
Yes.
Once you are entering your data and you are registering, you can access to this platform. This platform, the first thing that you have is the company situation. In the company situation, this is an example of IRTA that we are generating, that we are creating for sharing information with you. You need to define which is your company, workers, some specific data, and which kind of facilities you have. You can create, you can add new facilities, you can disable these facilities, and if you can introduce some data like a country, region, which is the activity and the species, and based in the activity, species, and the amount of production, million fingerling producers of tons of fish produces, we provide you the category. The category is provided automatically by the system based in the algorithmic model that we are developing. So if you are a small hatchery that you only produce one species, sea bass, and all the activity is based on the hatchery, you are a super specialized. F is due to the facility super specialized, and all on other, or for example, if you have if you combine hatchery with on-growing and so many species, you will be an example of mostly diversified. Okay. Once you are defined this one, the next step is go to the data entry. The data entry is very simple and very easy model to introduce data. Okay. Data is based in the year of production. So you can select year after year information, and later on, you can go directly to the specific facility that you are generating into the model. For example, if you have a hatchery producing sea bass, you can introduce a specific KPIs. Is the data is going directly, is the day 30 survival, which is the Guinan, and you have information about how we can help you to introduce the data. Each of one KPIs have a glossary introducing how to how to introduce the data and which it is the information that we are using. For example, if you have another hatchery but with 2 different species, the model presents you the information based on one species and other species. And also, if you are doing on growing, you are introducing so many other technical uses. And also, at the same time, you have the glossary with information how you can calculate this specific KPI, which is the formula that we are using, etc., etc. Okay. And the principals KPI that we actually are using, as you say, is growing, survival, deformity, mortality, survival during the life of the project, etc. And for each one, the other the other model that we are actually on working is health and biosecurity. Health and biosecurity is a intercomparative auditory. Okay, we are introducing all the questions coming from the work package 4, in which our colleagues are selected, which are the principal and general characteristics that we need to follow to be sure that the health and the biosecurity process in our facility is all ready. So in these cases, following also introducing data by year and also introducing data by the different kind of facilities that you are described previously and by species, you can selecting the general characteristic of the facility. And also if you are not vaccinated, if you are introducing, etc., etc., you only need to select the drop list and say yes, not, or not selected. Okay, once you are complete the survey, you have the data and you will be present this data. In environment, we use exactly the same, introducing data by year, by facility, and by species. And we are introducing some parameters like if it's year, of course, it is important, which are the amount of kilowatt you are using by kilo of product, which is the liter of fossil oil you are using by kilo of product, which are the materials, which is the impact of climate change in kilos of CO2 equivalents, and which are the marine eutrophication, which is kilos of nitrogen equivalent. Also, if you click in the summary, you have how calculate the climate change, how you can calculate the kilos of CO2 equivalents. Passes in different formula that we are developing also in the project and also for marine eutrophication. This is an approach, okay? It's not exactly the quite complicated manner to calculate it, but I think it's quite useful and help us to understand which are the principal activity bases of environmental impact. And on economics, actually, we are introducing the principals indicators like of feed cost, energy, labor costs, other production costs, profit margin, net profit margin, which is the biomass that you are producing, labor productivity, kilo per worker, and cage productivity. Also, at the same time, you can obtain information on how you can calculate the operational profit margin based in the formula introduced by of college in economics. Well, once you are introducing all the data, the next step is going to the dashboard. In the dashboard, first of all, you have an introduction talking about which is the status of the data that you have introduced. They say that actually for the year 2018, you have introducing perfectly the data in zootext, health and biosecurity, environment and economics. If you change and select another year, you can observe that you are introducing data in zootechnics, but actually you are not introducing data on health and environment and economics. Okay, is your data. This is the screen that you are in your console. It's only for you. Okay, In the dashboard, we'll present some specific information about the distribution of the feed costs of your company, which is the impact of the kilos of CO2, environmental impact, which is the operational profit margin, and which are the biomass that you are producing. Okay, is that for you? Later on, you can go directly to thought techniques. In thought techniques, data coming from the year 2018, you have the survival, the average. Well, we have the data of your survival that you are introducing, the when survival, juvenile, thermal growth, final survival, deformity, mortality by pathology, and other causes. And the most interesting is this one. Later on, you can adapt this data for the different facilities that you have. Okay, we have actually 3 different facilities. So we are representing here data for each facilities, comparing this data with the average of the sector, of comparing this data with the same companies are like me. Because if you remember at the beginning, when we introduced the data, we say that IRTA Fingerling, which is a super specialized company hatchery that only produce sea bass, we are comparing the data of my facility with the average data coming from the F super specialized facilities. Exactly the same. Okay, you can click, you say which is your data and which is to the other. Okay, and you can select it, the different KPIs that we are introducing: survival, wine and survival, and for example, the juvenile survival that you have. And also you can do exactly the same for the other facility that you are describing. In these cases, in the IRTA fish farming, in which we are introducing so many other species, we can compare which are actually the data for sea bream and sea bass, because we are informed in the system that we are producing two different species. And for example, the same in on-growing. In the on-growing, if you remember, we are introducing other kind of indicators, like a thermal load coefficient, like final survival, deformity, mortality by pathology, etc., etc. And we are comparing continuously with the specific average of the facilities that are exactly same that me. But if I'd like to know which is the average of the sector, we can check in, and actually we are comparing which are the pathologies, the mortality by pathology in on-growing for different species, but not only for the facilities like me, if not all the data that we are obtaining from all the sector. Okay, next step. In health and biosecurity, as we say, we are introducing a auto audit to know which is the actual stage of the application of the health and the biosecurity principles, main implications coming from the watch bracket. In these cases, we are introducing an analysis of the actual status that you have, and based on the answer that you are introducing, we present you which is your actual status for your specific facilities and for this species, okay, and which is the status of the sector. This is the model. And at the same time, you can observe which are the model of the answer coming from the sector. Okay, this is your answer, and this is which are the sector answering about this question. So it's easy for you, for example, compare in which state are you, which are the mode of the sector, and help you to take decisions and what we can do, why we are not doing that, what we need to do to improve more, etc., etc. And also, if you click here, you can compare with the, as I introduced you previously, with the super specialist model. You say that actually the current status of your company is good, and also is exactly the same that the mode, the average mode of the super specialized. And the answer also are changed, and you can follow. Exactly the same for other companies, and you can select it, which are the answer and which are the stage of each one based of the different species, okay? Or, well, of another specific category. Talking about environment. In environment, we are also introducing data like FCR, the kilos of kilowatts of electricity per kilo of product you are using, fossil oils, the different kind of material, and which are the impact of the CO2, the impact of climate change, and marine eutrophication. Exactly the same, you can select it, and you can compare which are your FCR in your facility, in one of your facilities, and which are the FCR based on the average of the super specialized. They offer you the possibility to compare. You say, my actual FCR is 4, and the sector is 236. Okay, this is information. This tool don't say you if you are good or not, if you are doing the thing well or not. They only provide you information to know which are the sector doing, and also help you to take decision and ask you why we are obtaining this FCA if the sector are the other one, and we can do to improve it. That's enough. Exactly. For example, if you compare which are your climate change, we say if my climate change, my impact of kilos of CO2 per kilo product is 9, and the average in the sector is 2.93, probably we need to ask why we have this so high impact in the CO2 per kilo of production. So it's a nice approach to help us to decide which changes we need to introduce in my company and do well and adapting to this one. And also exactly the same for the others. And finally, going to economics. In economics, we present which is your standard percentage of distribution of the principal costs, like feed costs, labor costs, livestock, energy, other production, and other costs, okay? Which the operational profit margin of your company, the net profit that you have, how many biomass you are producing, and which are the labor productivity. So kilos per kilo worker, etc. Okay, this is the presentation of your data. And later on, you can start to compare with your economic data with the other. For example, compare with my average category. In these cases, we have hatchery, and we are comparing which are my feed costs with the super specialist average, and we can compare energy, labor costs, other production costs, operational profit margin, net profit, biomass, labor productivity. Okay, I say I am, well, I am not so efficient if we compare with the super specialized, but this is an example, is to show you how the system works. And also we can use the other facilities that we have. In this case, in this specific farming, we have hatchery, but also we have growing, and also following the growing, we can also selecting the different KPIs, and which is my operational profit margin, which is my labor costs, etc., etc. And if I like to compare my facility not with the facilities that they are exactly like me, if are the average of the sector, which maybe will be some interesting, and also we can introduce and we can observe which are the ongoing costs for example, feed costs, which is the average cost in my company and the other. So in a few days, the other modules like I introduced you previously, welfare and also governance, will be all ready, and we're sharing with you with the possibility we introduce the data and adapting. And the idea that we have, as I previously say, that this is not a finished product. We are still continually improving, adapting, adding new KPIs, taking out some of them if they don't apport so many information, but collecting continuously news coming from the sector, from the other, from the stakeholder or whatever, and help to and adapt it. Finally, okay, we are again in the presentation. Yes?
Yes, on the last slide.
Exactly, and the last slide is another important thing that we are so worried about the possibility that once the MedAID project will be finished, this tool will not operative. So this is the main idea why we are arriving an agreement with Smart Water Planet, because Smart Water Planet have a suite developing and adapting, and this suite is the actual platform that we are using to introducing the dashboard that we have. And people from Smart Water, like Alejandro Granado and Gonzalo and Enrique, they are our team that they are helping us in adapting and modifying the specific characteristic of the suite that they have, and guarantee during the, I don't know, as much as possible during the next year, the possibility of maintaining the platform active and adapting and continuously adding new changes and adapting or transform the information to do more valuable data coming from this benchmarking process. Alejandro, Enrique, probably it's nice if you introduce which are the transactionality that we have and how we can guarantee the use of this platform during the next years, and how you can offer more value of the use of this platform.
Okay. Meantime, Cristóbal, there is a question in the question and answer that maybe now is a good moment to address it. So it's from Roberto Guijarro de la Cal, who says that the results of the project here presented are very interesting. And he's wondering about the possibility to access to this data or this tool by companies that are not producers, that are involved in the sector, but like aquafeed producers or pharma companies, equipment suppliers.
Yes, this is really interesting. This is one of the things that we are trying to think of, because when we present this platform, the idea is, of course, obtaining data for the principal producers, but the users of this platform is not only the producer. I think it's quite interesting, as I say in the presentation, for government, for other stakeholders, like you say, for example, feed mills, pharma company, or whatever. You need to go and access to the specific suite that Alejandro will be introduced now, and following the information of the constriction to go inside, you can subscribe to this data and use it. Yes, it's okay. And also, one of the ideas that we have, if it is possible to use this platform to recollect the data coming from whatever other stakeholder associated with the aquaculture. I don't know. We are totally open to adapt and to adapt the platform, and also open to whatever stakeholder that take this data. Yes.